The Justin Bartley Show.
They've already started to feel the effects.
My costs of doing business continue to rise.
How do you have this conversation?
You pray the way I pray.
Ladies and gentlemen, Justin Bartley on News Radio Wood 1300 and 1069 FM.
Big things going on this weekend. I want to talk about a little bit about traveling because I know a lot of folks are doing that over the weekend here. And some are participating in what's called a staycation. Cathy Banks, co-owner and vice president of Legacy Travel, legacytravel.com, talking about vacationing with a bang. Now, there are a lot of deals for folks that want to go out. And I guess sometimes, Cathy, I've got really the best deal on hotels, on traveling, especially when I book last minute. Is that the case here?
There's last minute and then there's last minute. Like if you're waking up this morning wondering, hey, I wonder where I could go this weekend, you're probably not going to find anything because now you have zero advance purchase. A week ago, a lot of deals were coming out and whatnot when you had, 7 to 10 days. Some people do find deals in that, but sitting day in and day out in my chair planning vacations with people for 25 years, really most of the time the best deal is planning further in advance. But there are sometimes some last-minute deals.
So what do we have to look forward to this weekend if we're on the road?
Well, lots of other people on the road with you is the main thing you have to look forward to. There's almost 35 million people planning to go at least 50 miles away from home by car this weekend, which is an uptick of over 500,000 people over last year. So there's going to be a lot of people there at the gas station getting a soda water, and there's going to be a lot of people on the road. So you have to pack your patience for sure.
When you're talking about traveling, airports probably going to have another one there to fight too. What do you recommend?
The biggest thing is leave yourself extra time, especially when you're talking about airports. When you're talking about a weekend like this weekend, it's a lot of people traveling that don't normally travel, so they don't know how to get through security quickly. They don't know, oh, wait, I needed to bring ID, or, just a million things. People that aren't used to traveling are going to fill the airports this weekend. So leave yourself lots of time to get through security, lots of time to get checked in. If it ends up that you get all the way through security, then you can just sit and read a book. But no one's trip was ever ruined by arriving too early at the airport.
What is it that makes people travel more right now? I see that we're up 10% year over year for folks with airfare and or not airfare, but people traveling with flights and things like this. Is airfare lower? Is that what's causing this?
A couple of months ago, there was a story that came out that there's been the biggest month-over-month increase of airfare in years. Now, some of the statistics that you've seen for this 4th of July said some people are saying airfares are lower. But again, sitting in my chair for 25 years, no one I'm talking to is going, hey, that's a great airfare. I mean, anyone that's looked for airfare recently can tell you, man, airfares are high. So
what do I do to get a deal? What do I do to get a deal on airfare? I know there's not a lot of wiggle room in there, but is there something that can, that can make it easier, make it better for me? I can feel I can get a little bit better deal.
Yeah. The basic premise whenever you want to get a deal on travel is that you need to be willing to do what other people won't or can't do. So that means things like we were talking about planning further in advance. That's one of the things that can go in your favor. Another thing is to be flexible on your days. Like, say, for instance, if 2 weeks ago we were talking about this weekend, it might have been a good idea to maybe travel on Friday or travel even on Saturday and then come home next Tuesday. Just be flexible with your dates. Stay away from the dates that most people would tend to gravitate to. And go maybe into other airports, like drive to a different airport that maybe isn't as popular, things like that. So be willing to do the things that other people won't or can't do.
So travel on dates that might be inconvenient or off peak, and then also travel to other airports that, maybe a little further away than what you normally would go to. And good advice. What about hotels? How can I get a good deal on a hotel?
You want to plan further in advance. I know next weekend I'm going to be in Oregon, on the Oregon coast, and I have had a heck of a time finding a hotel that I thought was anywhere in the realm of a decent price. We finally did find one. I'm very happy with it, but it took a lot of looking and a lot of flexibility, and you have to be tenacious. And of course, and again, sitting in my chair for 25 years, I think one of the best things you can do is to develop a long-term relationship with a local travel professional, not necessarily someone who's like, oh, yeah, I'll book trips for you and make some extra money, but someone who's truly a travel professional, because over the years they get to know you, they get to know what you like and don't like, what you are and aren't willing to do, and you'll be on the front of their mind when they come across deals that they think you might like.
You know, I will tell you that my wife and I got the best. I don't know. Maybe this is not. Who knows? Maybe this is not standard, but we got the best deal in October. For our honeymoon. We try and make this trip every year if we can, but it was. Well, it was 3 years ago when we got married. Our honeymoon, we decided we were just going to stay here in Michigan and go around the state, and we would go to places like Traverse City, which is an amazing spot, Mackinac Island, which during October, I think not a lot of people are thinking about that kind of places as a destination. But boy, it was beautiful. The weather was perfect, and we got some deals.
You're exactly right, because that's off peak. You did beautifully. And I always have to raise my eyebrows when someone comes into our office and they're getting married like on December 23rd or something. So every anniversary trip for the rest of their life is going to be in the most dreadfully expensive time possible.
We went, like I said, we went to Mackinac Island, and the Grand Hotel there, which is, pretty pricey place to stay.
Mm-hmm.
We called and I will say, you recommend calling a travel agent. That's probably somebody who's going to be able to give you a good deal or heads up on something. We called that person and said, I don't know what I can tell you. This is about the rate. If you call them, it might be even lower. So we called them and called the Grand Hotel. They gave us, believe it or not, the person on the phone was so nice, so sweet. They gave us the heads up. Hey, here's the rate, but the secret. If you just come in and you ask at the front desk, the rate will be even lower. And so we did. And I think the rate for us for that night ended up being about $200, when normally it was about $400 or $500. And we had a really nice room, a suite, the whole deal. And, of course, meals are included with that. And it's a beautiful resort there in Mackinac Island. Is that something that you recommend to do? Is maybe can they have a little flexibility at the front desk if it is a time that's off peak, or they don't have full occupancy there?
And now, was she suggesting that you go there without a reservation, or you go there and ask for a lower rate than your existing reservation?
Without a reservation, the person on the phone at the hotel.
Wow. It depends. Like many things in travel, it depends. Like, for instance, if you're on a road trip and it's midnight and you're rolling into town, you're like, man, we just need to find a place to stay. I can't go any further. And you go into the hotel, well, guess what? They've got you. They can charge you pretty much what they want because you're exhausted and you're not going to go any further. So in that situation, probably not the best plan. In your situation, it worked out. It was a low time. Probably half the hotel was empty, and so they could negotiate that. I guess it depends on who's in the driver's seat. Like, in that situation, you could have left, I guess, and gone someplace else. So it was to their advantage to negotiate with you. Because I've been planning travel for a living for 25 years, going without something already pre-planned just kind of all gets up under my lap.
You know what, though? It is. It's risky, and Cathy Banks, co-owner and vice president of Legacy Travel, on with us right now, legacytravel.com. That's one of those things where you, like you said earlier, you have to be willing to do some things that other people aren't willing to do, which is possibly not have a place to stay.
Right, right, exactly.
The whole trip could have just completely been, well, there's no room here for you at the end. And it was close to that this last year we went, because the movie Somewhere in Time was filmed on that island and at that resort with, I don't know if you remember, Christopher Reeves. And so they have every year they have this reunion where folks come to town and they go to the island and they dress up in period costumes and all these things. And so we were going, it just so happens, this last year during that weekend. And so, we did. Actually, we still got a room. It wasn't as nice as the first that we had gotten, and the deal wasn't as good. But we still got in, and, obviously we didn't wait till the absolute last minute that time. But it's interesting. It really is interesting, as you said. You have to be willing to gamble, maybe, if you want to.
Right.
If you want to. Now, what about these websites? Because I see, Priceline or Hotels.com or all these different websites where you can save money and get a bargain. Kathy, what do you recommend for those?
This Oregon trip I'm taking next week, which we're going to be in Newport, Oregon. It's going to be beautiful. I was looking for a rent car, and I really would like to have a convertible. So I was looking at all the different rental car company websites. actually, and it's very expensive. And my niece that I'm going to see said, hey, have you looked at Priceline? So I did. I looked at Priceline. And it was the very same price.
Interesting. Yeah.
At least in this situation.
So you never know if you will actually get a deal on this. Some of those, I guess, you're getting as low as you can go. And I've found that myself too. You know, I have a Costco membership, and one of the things that they offer is, they have travel deals, and they also have rental cars. And sometimes I found that they've got a good rate. And sometimes it's not. You know, I've found working with if you got like a place you rent your car from every time, especially if it's someplace in town, you can work with that person. Sometimes that you can get a better deal working with that person. So I guess it really depends. Would you just recommend starting with the expert and doing a little shopping on your own as well?
Yeah, it's always a matter of compare. And in the situation where you're talking about going with the company that you always rent your cars from, that person does nothing but look at car rental rates all day. So they'll know, hey, I've got this promo code over here. I've got this deal right here that I can apply this way. So I'm a big fan of the human touch. I think that developing a relationship with a professional, in my opinion, is the way to go.
There you go. Well, Cathy, thank you so much for shedding a little light on that. Safe travels to everyone on the roads this weekend. And you next weekend when you head out to Oregon. Of course, Cathy Banks, co-owner and vice president, Legacy Travel, legacytravel.com. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.